guest is here. Pete Medhurst, play-by-play voice for the Naval Academy. He joins us now on Sons of UCF Live. In between races, he calls harness racing at the Rosecroft Raceway. How are the races tonight, Pete?
Doing pretty well right now. The prices have been pretty solid here through the first four races. Right now, we're at about 11 minutes until post time on race 5. So we got about 8 minutes here. It's going to work out for us.
All right. Tell us about Navy. They're coming into this game with a struggle, but they've been competitive in most of these.
Yeah, I think that's the frustrating part for Ken Niumatalolo and his crew right now. They're, that close but no cigar. I mean, if we're playing horseshoes, we're right there in contention for the American Athletic Conference Championship. Unfortunately, though, you don't get points for being close in college football. And, competitive at Cincinnati, competitive, obviously, this weekend with Notre Dame. It's what you're looking for. Competitive down at SMU. I mean, there have been opportunities for this team to win a lot more football games, but, that's what separates right now, the reality of really good football teams like UCF and a team like Navy that's still trying to find themselves right now. Certainly losing the quarterback the way they have hasn't been ideal, but, the beauty of the American, you guys know it from being in it, and I try to tell people this every week. The American Athletic Conference is solid as a rock, man, and I don't think it's ever been better than it is right now. There haven't been many soft spots in this league this year, and UCF is right there on the cusp of performing in the championship game. So been a good year for Gus's guys so far.
Pete, just us friends here, no one else is really listening in. Can you tell us who's going to start at quarterback this week?
Hey, I rely on the depth chart just like everybody else. And, until I'm told different, Xavier Arline is competing for that spot this week with Masai Maynor. And, until I'm told different, I think those are certainly the two guys that you're prepping for this coming week, because I don't think it's impossible based on the skill set of both players that you would see both guys, because Masai's done a very good job in a reserve role. His ability to throw the football certainly gives Navy a different element, but I think there's a legitimate chance you clearly see both guys coming up this week.
I think the strong part of Navy has been their run defense this year. The UCF, their strong part is their run offense. Do you see this as an advantage for you guys, or you've only given up 6 rushing touchdowns all year?
I don't know if it's an advantage against a great team, but I think there's no question that you've got two very elite units here. And I think you bring up a great point, because this is, and obviously when you include, Plumlee at the quarterback spot, you're talking about a part of the game that UCF, even going back to Heupel, people think, Josh is pitching it around 30, 40, 50 times. And when you really look deeper into this, Joe Miller and I, on our It's College Football podcast, my Navy broadcast partner and I, we've talked about through the years about how good Central Florida is at running the football. Now you add the Plumlee factor and how he set the tone down at Tulane with that burst for 87. Now you're talking about an even more significant running attack for this UCF team. And let's face it, when you can run the football, you avert risk out there. And when you take less risk, you have a chance to play, mistake-free football. And that's what championship clubs do. And this UCF team has done that very, very impactfully so far. For Navy, the front seven, hey, knock on wood, man, they've stayed healthy for the most part. We got 4 legitimate linebackers that can play. And our defensive line, led by the nose guard, Donald Berniard, Clay Cromwell, Jacob Busick on the outside. And even their understudies, guys like Reed and Barber, who've played behind them, those guys have played very well too. So it's clearly, without question, the prime time matchup in this game between those two units. Ultimately, to me, the question is, UCF's defense never gets the credit that they're deserving. You got a linebacker, you got defensive linemen that are filthy out there. That group has played great football all season long. Question to me is, how many points can Navy score in this football game coming up this week against what has been a very underappreciated UCF defense?
We spent a lot of time on Sons talking about NIL and the transfer portal, which has been very beneficial to UCF. What impact are those things having on the quality of Navy football?
Well, at our place, the transfer portal is one way out.
Right. Right. So that's impacting what you can do, right? We're competing.
NIL does not right now. NIL at the Naval Academy does not exist. So, that's the problem. That all the armed services have to deal with. Take the paper off. I read the messages. But the Naval Academy is a special place for a reason. Our kids come there as part of a higher calling. Yes, they get to play Division I football against the best teams in the country, but they're also there. Our seniors today found out what service selections they're going to have. 18 are going to be members of the fleet. 7 are going to be members of the United States Marine Corps going forward. So ultimately, that's what, in my mind, gives our kids that special feeling. But as Ken Niumatalolo said for years, and you guys have seen us win 11 games on a couple of occasions here in the American, don't believe for 1 minute our kids aren't coming to compete as well. And that's what they will do every Saturday. Just ask Notre Dame. Irish are rolling at halftime. They had 12 yards in the second half because our kids refused to give in, and our kids changed some things philosophically in the second half. Our coaching staff made a couple of great adjustments, and they found their way back into the football game against Notre Dame on Saturday as a result.
All right, Pete Medhurst, we know we got to get you back to the races, the play-by-play voice for the Naval Academy. We appreciate you stealing a few moments between races out there at Rosecroft Raceway.
No problem. Pleasure to be with you guys. We'll see you on Saturday.
All right, thanks, Pete. Safe travels.